Bonjour, hello, this is Thomas from CapsulaVerde, partnership with Terra Aquatica again. I've prepared a little presentation for you about seedling. This is spring, so I think maybe you have already starting to sow or you are thinking about. I hope you have some warm weather and you are ready to go. Um, so how to prepare and succeed your seedling? I prepared this little presentation to show you what are my consideration when I start to put seeds in to start seeds. Some points are for me very important, and maybe it will give you some ideas. These are very simple key points, but sometimes the strategy of seedling can be changed by weather, environmental condition, the strategy you have, or the species you are cultivating. Obviously, here are some key points. I try to keep really fast to little, and if it's too little, the plant will start to have some deficiency before you put it, you transplant it. Also, if there is not enough root mass, you will have problem to manipulate. So we will see what we should on what we should focus to avoid a lot of problem. First, which growing media to choose. So mainly people are using light mix soil, imitation, something like an imitation of soil with a lot of peat in it. I'm not very fond of it. I really prefer cocoa fiber because this is a neutral media which will not really influence the seeds, the roots, and what I will put in it. If you use soil, there is also it can happen that you could have problem with structure because the plant will have to grow in this media during 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And what you really don't want is that structural loss, which would mean that for example, you fill your container, and at the end, after 2 or 3 weeks, 3/4 of your container are still full, but missing one. The density, the structure are lost, and you have you can have problem this way with the roots development. Cocoa is very stable. It acts like a sponge. So this is very interesting because all your irrigation, fertilization will not go toward vertically, but also horizontally, which means that your roots will develop in all direction in your container. This is a good way to optimize these little pots that you will use, and to have a very dense root mass before to go in the planting in the real world, in ground or in new pots. So mainly I like cocoa fiber. Sometimes I use cocoa fiber with perlite. It has advantage and inconvenient. It means that perlite will give you more drainage. I think it's the word. You will have more oxygen, but sometimes these little white rocks will be in the way of the little seeds, and sometimes it's better to just use pure cocoa fiber. Also, if you have more perlite, you will have less inertia for water. So, for example, if weather or your environmental condition um, are a little bit dry, or if you can't water your plant or watch on your substrate every day, you should consider to use just pure cocoa fiber to have it wet. If you have a little bit of perlite, the advantage is you have less risk of overwatering. But in so little pot, there is few chance that it could happen. As a fertilization, you can use either organic or mineral. Both are interesting. Uh, I'm a farmer in organic agriculture, so I only use organic from start. But mineral has the advantage to be very precise and optimize the possibility for the plant to take everything. There is less latency with mineral. So if you use organic, it's a little bit more important that the environmental condition um, environmental condition should be a little bit more perfect. I mean that if you have low temperature, organic will take a little more time to be caught by the plants. Mineral, even if you have a little bit lower temperature, there is no problem. Fertilization can be given by watering, but also irrigation, but also spraying foliar. You can see two application charts near this example of organic and mineral fertilizer. So they are very well done. You can use, so you have nearly 2 to 3 weeks to manage. First week, the seed, you sow your seeds, and they need a very few nutrition, but they need. So don't put your seed in, for example, cocoa. There is nothing to eat in it. There is no food in it. So you really need to put a little bit of fertilizer, and this is the first column. This is a very, very low level. And this column is also very good if you use foliar application. Me, I'm using both. That means that I water the plant, and also I do foliar spray. So during the first week, I'm using a sprayer, and this has the advantage to not disturb the seeds when you water the plants, and also you do your foliar application. Then next week, when the plants have the first level of true leaves, I change the doses of fertilizer, the second column, and this is used for irrigation. And I keep my foliar application still with the first column. And then the growing column, the third one, sometime you keep your plant a little bit longer. That means that your plant will have the second or the third level of leaves. And then you have to up a little bit the doses and enter in in a more growing period. So that means that you need a little bit more of nitrogen. This is the third column. This one, it's really when your plant are starting the growth. It's when the roots are nearly touching the bottom of your containers, and 2 or 3 level of leaves before to go to this concentration and nitrogen level. And the biostimulants are very interesting too. Root booster, you have humic acid, fulvic acid, and also I like to use microbes, trichologic, trichoderma. Sometimes inoculate the substrate uh, before to sow, 1 or 2 weeks before. Then trichoderma is already installed and growing and working in my substrate before I put the seeds. It will prevent pathogen like Fusarium and Pythium, and it will help also to digest the organic nutrients. And there is also biostimulant for foliar application, like alga extract, like seaweed, for example, which will let the grow the plants a little bit shorter, more stronger, and more resistant to environmental conditions. Silicate also, I like to use it because it's give more strength to the stem, more strength and resistance to the leaves. And I will show you after in a case study that it can also help when the weather conditions are a little bit harsh. For example, a lot of sun on the leaves, silicane can really help. When for the irrigation, humic acid as proof in my environmental condition with a very, very warm condition, and plants were already in little pot, and they were already big. There were like a saturation of the roots in this pot, and even all dry, the humic acid prevent the stress of this lack of water on this plant. So consider to use minimum for me is to use trichoderma and fulvic. Seaweed can be used 1 or 2 times during this period. It means that I use it 1 time every 10 days, nearly. And silicate, it helps. I have it because we never know what can happen with environmental condition. The choice of the containers, this is important because this is important to know the strategy, what will happen, what kind of plants you are growing. For example, if you grow salad or tomatoes, these plants, they don't have the same comportment about growth speed and about how they grow the roots into the containers. Also, if you have to keep your plants 2 weeks or 4 weeks in the containers, it will give you indication about your the choice of the volume, and also the ergonomy for the plantation. For example, if you just need to put 20, 40 seeds, 40 plants, you can easily go to a little pot, for example, 7 centimeter by 7 centimeter. You can manage these 40 pots to bring them to the new place. If, for example, you have a field with 300 or 1,000 or 3,000 plants, it's really a lot of space if you have to manage little pot 7 by 7. So consider to use seedling trail, which are very ergonomic. For example, the white one that you see up there are 96. You can put 96 seeds, so that's a lot. And but you have to manage time in this little little volume. It's only 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter and 4 centimeter depth, so you have to manage this. And the example that you can see in these pictures, up to the right, you can see that this plant was a little bit too late before to go to the field. It was okay after it works, but I had to manage bad weather, so I keep this trail under the greenhouse 1 week more, so it's 4 week instead of 3 weeks. So this last week. It was starting to be a little bit too much roots, so the deficiency can come, and also all the problem can come. Also, if you have a little volume, you have less inertia with temperature, because the media is like an insulator. So if you have a little bit more volume, you have a little bit more insulation against cold and warm. This has to be considered also, because if you have a full controlled environmental condition, for example, in indoor or in a greenhouse, but in a very good greenhouse, you will not have a surprise with weather. But if you are outdoor or in a greenhouse with no possibility of temperature management, you have to consider that your seeds will have more temperature shock and also less inertia with dry and wet. It can be managed. It's also interesting um, to put selective pressure on your seeds, but it's only if you have a lot of seeds and if you are ready to lose some. Me, I like to work like this. I prefer to put 96 seeds and to lose maybe 10 or maybe 20%, but that means that it's already a selection on it. But it's using a lot of seeds at the end. The environmental conditions. So here you have two examples far one from each other. The first one is like a DIY greenhouse outdoor with no artificial heat. You can see that the temperature can drop from 40 to I think it's 40 to -1 the surface, but you can see also that the probe that which is in the media shows that we have something like 22, 25 maximum and -0 during the night. So it proves that this media is acting like an insulator, so it's very interesting. But outdoor like this, not every seeds will be happy with such condition. This -0, it's maybe 1, 2, 3 hours during the night. If the temperature is quickly at 18, 20 during the day, then it's starting to germinate and to work well. And after this, the period when the plants are growing the first leaves, if you have this drop during night and day, the temperature cold and warm, it will also help the plant to be a little bit shorter and more stronger, but you lose a little bit of time also. On the opposite, you have the indoor environmental condition. It's possible to manage temperature, humidity, light, ventilation. So it's very interesting, but the inconvenience can be that at the end, this little plant will need a little time to adapt outdoor. So it really depends on the season. For example, if you want to put your seeds a little bit in advance, for the tomatoes, for example, it's very interesting, or for the chilies. if you start in February and you think about putting the little plant outdoor in March, in my case, it's in France, in southeast. We can still have harsh weather then. So a little greenhouse outdoor, or and for the cold, but also we can have very warm and sunny weather one day. And artificial lamp versus sun, it's not the same. So the plant sometimes need 1 week, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes you can have some problems. So a little bit of shadow if you have big sun, this is very welcome. And also a little greenhouse, or putting them outdoor and taking them in when it's too harsh, it's another possibility. And a compromise in between these two examples is to have a little plastic greenhouse, even the one that you put on your table, with heating uh, heating floor. This is really helping the germination. This is helping the plant to have healthy roots. The perfect temperature for this, for the seedling, is between 18 to 22. This is very good for the roots. So that's why I use um, uh, a thermometer with an external probe that I can put in the media to be sure that I have something close to 18 to 22. If it's less, even 15, it works, but it works slower, and it can bring some problem for the roots to really take the nutrition. And if for example, there is a very warm weather and the substrate, the roots are in 30 degrees, for example, then it's also a problem because there is less oxygen, the metabolism will be affected, and there is more risk of pathogen like Fusarium et Pythium. So this is very important to manage this temperature, watching the roots. Even in air, if aerial temperature is, for example, 15 or even 10 degrees, but this is not a problem if the roots are 18 degrees Celsius. So we have seen different points that are very important, and also that the strategy and objectives will influence the choice. Ergonomy and compatibility for planting. For example, this is very different to prepare little plant for hydroponics, like GrowStream, or for planting pot, or like this is fabric pot, or for field. Uh, Obviously, for a growth stream, I will not use a pot like 7x7. I don't want this substrate at the end, so I will use little plugs uh, like the seedling trays, for example. The estimated time until planting uh, and the root behavior of the varieties. This is important to see the difference that, for example, uh, hemp or tomatoes will be very active. After 1 or 2 weeks, the roots will really expand, and if the roots invade totally the volume of the container, stress can come very quickly. So 3 to 4 weeks is really the maximum for the plant to be in the container. Generally, for the little plug, it's something in between 2 to 3 weeks, and in the pot like 7x7, it's 3 weeks. It's okay. 4 weeks, it's okay also. And manipulating it. Consider that manipulating young plants too soon from this container or tray. This is not good. You will break the roots. You will have some part of the media falling because the roots are not in, and it will break some roots. Uh, Ability to adapt to the environment and temperature, inertia, and irrigation. This is mostly about the kind of substrate. That's why I choose cocoa fiber, but soil is okay also, but you have to know your soil. Cocoa is stable and always the same. And to consider that it's insulation, this substrate will be can be considered like insulator for temperature and also inertia for the irrigation, the wetness of the roots. So a little bit case study. I had some problem during this cultivation, but at the end it works. But you will see that. So we started 96 seedling trays with hemp. It was for field, and the goal was to manage 3,000 plants. So we started it in cocoa fiber. First thing was to put Trichoderma and Streptomyces in this media. And what is very practical with this trade is that I can really make a vertical storage. Even after I put the seeds, I keep them like this for 3 weeks because I know that hemp will take no, not 3 weeks, 3 days, because hemp will take 3 to 5 days before to present the cotyledon out. So I do it like this because in May, in this area, it was very cold by night, and there were no possibility to have heating mat and to put this warm. So putting this trail like this gives the plant more insulation for 3 days. And then when the seeds are starting, there is this is go inside the greenhouse. So this is a very low-tech greenhouse, only a plastic greenhouse and two opening door for air, not more. So this is economically cheap, but the problem is that if you have big sun, it can go very high in temperature and very cold by night, but it worked. Even if in May temperature by night dropped lower than 10 degrees, and at the beginning it was okay during the day, maybe it's 20 degrees. But after this, it was after the middle of May, big sun by day, so night was 15, and during the day in the greenhouse it was like 40 degrees. So the plants, after more than two weeks in this plug, starting to be a little bit stressed by the environmental condition because low insulation of the roots, and also the roots was really occupying all the volume. What you can see on the leaves of on this plant is silicate. I used it to because this is clay. And if you dissolve it in water and you spray it under the leaves, it will let a little bit of this white clay on the leaves, and it really help to protect the plant from the sun. So, and the first effect is to reinforce the cell wall of the leaves and also the stem, so to prevent all the problem that can occur when the temperature is so high and like fusarium and pythium again. So protecting from the sun and protecting from the pathogen. But the plugs was already full, and at this time we could not take the plant out and go to the field because there were also big storm and so on. So end of May was a pity. We had to wait a little bit, like 1 week more. So instead of 3 weeks, it was 4 weeks, but it worked. So as you can see, and even because this is hemp has a tendency to make a long stem if at the beginning. So it started a little bit short, and because it's hemp for CBD and CBG are often breeding of textile hemp, so you can have a very long stem. So it was a little bit late to go to the field, but in the way I like to grow with a lot of with a deep mulch. This long stem was good for this technique. And then, as you can see, after one week, the plant started again to grow. But of course, this plug was so dense in roots, with roots. I'm sure that I lose 1 week. I have to wait. I had to wait 1 week before the plant started again because the root mass was really too dense. So I hope that this gave you some new thought about your technique of seedling, and I would be really happy to answer to some question if you have. Don't hesitate. Also, I think that in the chat, Terra Aquatica sent you a link. It's a little list of questions, very easy, and you can win some product of this brand that I like very much. So I'm ready for the question. If you have some, I would be very happy to answer. And starting with, up, I'm back. I read. I'm ready. Thank you for this explanation. I'm interested in hydroponics, but I haven't started yet. Can you sow seeds directly in hydroponics? Mm, yes, but in my opinion, it depends of the system that you have. For example, if it's nearly no substrate or a substrate like clay pebbles, the seeds can be lost in this clay pebbles. It's a structural problem. And also, for example, if I take for example the growth stream, you have a number of net pot with clay pebbles. If you put one seed in every pot, you are not sure that every seed will germinate. You can have bad seeds, a problem, something like this. So in my opinion, it's better to put your seed in little plug. You can use cocoa, but you can also see this little expanding disc of peat or cocoa that you can find in garden center. It's really working, and this little plug you can put it directly in an hydroponic system. If it's, for example, ebb and grow, an ebb and flow system with cocoa, you can think about putting your seeds directly in this cocoa if it's big plants and fast growing plants like tomatoes or hemp or things like this. Um, but again, the problem will be if one of your seeds is bad, you will lose time on this spot, and you will have to start again this one. So, in my opinion, it's always better for many reasons to put your seed in little plug and then to go to the hydroponic system. It means that you have maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Two weeks is sometime enough in little plugs. And when it started, then you are sure that your plants, your seeds are alive. And you have the first true leaves, then you can go in the hydroponic system. Another one. Um, Tuk tuk. Can you buy and sow any seeds, or are there seeds that take less? And if it doesn't grow, what do you advise? Because I sowed and one of the plant was much bigger than the others, and some didn't grow. Yes, it happens. There are several reason that can bring this kind of situation. It can be the environmental condition. In your case, you say that you have had little and big plants. That means that you have had a diversity in the phenotype, which is possible. Good brands, they say that you will have some difference, and some brands then don't say, and so that's in this case the question is to ask to the brand which sell you the seeds, because it's normal to have some variation, but big variation between seeds, that means that it's not stabilized. It can be very interesting because you can find some traits that you are looking for, a phenotype that is big, the other one is shorter. And it's the same variety. Huh? Variety means that you have diversity. But sometimes, if you want to have something homogeneous in your cultivation area, you need a plant that will have nearly the same compartment. So ask the brand. They have to answer to you what happened. Mm, mm, mm. If my seedlings talk, is there anything I can put or do to make up for it? If I understand well, because seedling stalled, you mean that they are not starting, or they have started and then they don't grow anymore? Because if they don't start, it can be a problem of temperature and humidity in the media, but in my opinion, good seeds, they always start after 3 days, 5 days. After 1 week, maybe old seeds, and 10 days for new fresh seeds, it's a little bit too much, but it can happen. If it's more and the seeds doesn't want to germinate, it means that there is problem on the seeds. If you if you still have some seeds in the bag, you can do the test of the to put them in water to see if they expand and germinate, or to put them in a little humid tissue paper to see if it's growing. But don't do this if you want to grow them after, because it's always a stress for the plant. But you can grow them, but it's just for the test. And if you mean that they germinate, the first cotyledon come, and maybe the first true leaves, but now it's blocked and it doesn't want to grow anymore. So you need to find where is the problem. Mainly it's environmental condition. Mainly it's the temperature in the media. If the roots don't have more than 15 degrees Celsius, and best is 18 to 22 degrees Celsius, it can really just stop, and a lot of other things happen, like calcium deficiency, like minerals doesn't go to the plant, and so on and so on. So sometimes it happens because we think, for example, even indoor, even if you have 20, 22 degrees in atmosphere, you can have less than 15 in around your roots. For example, if you use tap water often come out of your tap at less than 15 degrees. So if you put this temperature, this water at this temperature to your plants, it will be this temperature for a long, long time because your media is an insulator. It will keep what you give. Uh, uh, I would advise to use warm water, to irrigate with water like 20, 22, 25 degrees, depending of the environmental condition. But and also if your plant are on the floor or on something cold, same. You can have 22-degree atmospheric and still less than 15 around the roots. So when seedlings are germinating slowly and then it block, often it's this. And sometime during 1 week it's block. This temperature around the roots is not good, and you put water and you put fertilizer, but the plant doesn't. The plant don't take it, and then you have more and more problem coming because accumulation of fertilizer around the roots. So my advice is to check the temperature and to rinse the media if you have this problem for example 2 weeks and you give fertilizer and nothing happen, you have a little accumulation. So be up the temperature of the media and rinse a little bit before to start again. And so stop growing and very thin. It can be a problem of light also. Don't forget the light. If your windows are not enough, so if it's not outdoor, if it's not under a little LED, lot of people, for example, for the tomatoes, they start indoor and put it just in front of the window, and it's not enough. It's not enough. This plant will be very thin and stop growing. So temperature and light uh, would be my advice. Okay, if I've answered to all your question, I'm very happy with this, and I hope you enjoy it. So maybe next month another subject, and don't forget to participate to the little question and take the chance to win some product. Have good time, have good spring, and a good seedling. Bye.